Yep, we're live. Looks like we're live. You want to kick us off, Kyle, while I go out on social media again?
Yeah, so I'll just start out by singing my favorite song this time of year. Rocky Top, you'll always be sitting at home watching me cheer on the Wildcats. Woo! Rocky Top goes down. Rocky Top goes down big time.
So that's
Mississippi State.
So it's Kansas, Kansas, Duke, Tennessee, all go down. Auburn and Mississippi State just dominate.
It
this
is not
afternoon's
a
games.
good thing to be chalk right now. It is not a good time to be the 1 and 2 seed. I'll tell you though, as much trouble as we had getting live on the air, and I'll take most of that blame. I think we have some matchup problems tonight with Texas A&M. I think we saw that the very first time that we played them, and not much has changed other than Kentucky appears to have found its rhythm and found who they are at this point. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, because their guards went crazy on us. Their two starting guards went crazy on us the last game. Taylor and Radford
That's correct.
Scored like 48 points, or not 48. They took 48 shots and scored half the team's points. But Taylor, he wasn't hitting from he was only 1 for 11 from 2-point land. But he was living on the free throw line because he kept getting by us, and we fouled the heck out of him.
Yeah, I mean, he was 1 for 11. But he was also 6 for 13, getting to the line way too easy. Sorry.
Yeah, he only missed one. Only missed one free throw.
Before we get too far into this, Craig, I want to give an enormous shout out to Franklin County Lady Flyers. I mean,
tough game.
It was tough. You talk about a tough game. The Butler defeated them by 3 points today. County had lots of opportunities down the stretch they had stolen the ball and were driving. Butler was probably the tallest team they played all year. I mean, I think by far. They had their center who is all of 6'6".
She's tall. I couldn't tell.
She
from
has
your vantage point.
According to my daughter, who has the inside scoop at the University of Kentucky, she's signed with the Lady Cats, with the UK women's basketball team. So big pickup there, because that young lady is a baller. And she had, for being so big, size-wise, she had a finger roll touch on a number of shots that were surprisingly genteel, if you will. The Lady Flyers, they are used to up and down running, and they weren't allowed to do that today. Butler played amazing defense. I don't know how this team lost 8 games or whatever it was this year, because they were dominant.
Might be Louisville's competition in Louisville.
Yeah, I would say that but between them and Assumption and Mercy, I think those are probably the best schools up there. Holy Cross, but the Flyers kept fighting. Even had a shot at the end there to tie it. I feel for the seniors, but let me tell you something. Majority of that team's scoring are juniors, and
they just missed a last second, right at the end of the clock, 3-pointer to tie, right?
They did, and I know that they had worked really hard, and I know Juliana Frazee, who is she's just a stud when it comes to playing down low. She's ranked nationally as one of the top interior players. She got hurt at the about 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter of the first game of the Sweet 16, which was surprisingly a blowout. I mean, they ran North Laurel out of the gym, and then Juliana did not start tonight, but she came in very early, and she just wasn't herself. You could tell she was hobbled by that ankle, but I mean, the heart that this team has, and I mean, this team has won 7 out of the last 10 Region 11 tournaments. Now, that's
Explain what that means when you say they
yeah.
won the region. Where do
So
they
for
go
anybody,
after the region?
yeah. So in Kentucky, we have what we call the Sweet 16. Now, you have that in March Madness as well, but they obviously stole that from us. But the Sweet 16 is the longest running state tournament in boys basketball and in the country, organized by a Kentucky high school or a high school federation. The girls, when they started in 75, I believe, 72, 75, after Title IX went into effect, they started having the girls' Sweet 16. And since
That
that
was held
time,
at Richmond most of the time, wasn't
it
it?
was,
EKU.
it was absolutely.
Mhm.
The girls were not blessed enough to be able to play at Rupp Arena. I love the fact now that they're able to do that. But even going to Richmond, it was a big deal. And in the 16 regions, they are geographic. So you have, one starting over in Paducah, and you've got 16 over in the Pikeville area, and 11 is right there square in the Bluegrass area. And
With
so,
Fayette County and
so
every
you have
20,
you have
all
you
three
have
schools.
you have all 7 Fayette County public and private schools. You have both Georgetown schools. You have all 3 high schools in Madison County, 4 if you consider model. And then you have the 4 high schools in Franklin County. Um, of the 40 of the 51 champions that they have had, 7 have come from the 11th region, and 7 of the runner-ups have come from the 11th
Right.
region. So
Yeah.
14 out of the 51, and so in the 80s, Henry Clay had a dominant program. Henry Clay is, for those of you who don't know, is one of the oldest schools, public high schools in Lexington, Kentucky.
Yeah, they were upset last night, weren't they?
They were, and they and Henry Clay is one of those high schools that you have individuals that went to that school who are congressmen and governors. Hey, Governor Bashir, if you're watching. So you have these large schools that have 2,200 students apiece. I think the largest public school is actually Frederick Douglass, and that's just because it's new and they're building
Yeah.
out there. I think they have 1,700. And Franklin County has exactly 1,000 students as of, I think, last week. So they are I think they're the 4th smallest out of 19 programs, and by far they're
Mhm.
more than half of the average size. And when Henry Clay won it for many years, they won. I think they won 8 out of 11 is what I counted, and then you had Lexington Catholic in the early 2000s. They won 7 of 9. And then now you have Franklin County with 7 of 10. And they're by far the best program. They have a feeder program that they've
Right.
started, which is very similar to what Eddie James has with the football program.
Right.
They start those girls in 4th and 5th grade learning the exact same plays, base plays. And, they add twists as girls get older and things. And they are competitive. They play year round. They have AAU tournaments. And
We ran up against the wrong team today.
they just ran, and it happens.
Because it was close the whole game.
It never got more than, I think they got up by 5 in the 3rd quarter, and County immediately came back. So I think the largest margin was 5 of any team. County led twice in the game, once at the very beginning and then once in the second half, and it was a great game. I will say this. For all
Okay,
the
end with this. We go to
yeah,
UK next.
yeah. So I will say this, and I appreciate you giving me the time to do this. Coach Joey Thacker is now sitting at, I believe, 15th or 16th all alone in all-time wins.
And he's young. He's young.
Yeah, he's a young fella. He's still got some time to be able to get some more wins. He just got his 500th win this year. Coach Thacker led these girls who all had a chip on their shoulder, who are all trying very hard. But for another reason than what we normally think, Coach Thacker's wife is battling cancer right now. Our thoughts and prayers are with her. Today, one of the very special moments, at least for me as someone that was in the stands, was Coach Thacker was awarded the Regional 11 Coach of the Year, and of course that happened at halftime when he was in with his girls. But Natasha, his wife, went out and accepted that award, and there were a lot of people cheering for that, and a lot of probably not some non-dry eyes in Rupp Arena. And that team was fighting for her, and I know there were some girls that felt like they tried their best and maybe didn't do all they could,
Still
and they
close,
did.
though. Just 3-point loss.
Look, making it to the Sweet 16. That's the dream in Kentucky, and they did it, and they've done it 7 times. And I'm excited for next year. But go Flyers, and any of these programs that we have here in Frankfort and Franklin County. We're so proud of everything they're doing. But getting to the matter at hand in 42 minutes or so, I think there's a couple things that are different about this game versus last time we played against Texas A&M.
And when we beat Tennessee the other day.
And when we beat Tennessee like a drum. And
totally
of course,
different team, yeah.
And of course, Tennessee was, they're the number 1 team going into it. Everyone was talking about, Kentucky's playing great, but, they had a great shooting night against Tennessee. That's baloney. They dominated that game.
Yeah, right.
But the biggest difference, Reed Shepherd has been good all year. Rob Dillingham has been impressive all year long. Justin Edwards. Where did this guy come from? Justin Edwards, he has several games where he has 0 minutes and 0 points.
Especially for the game. Early in the year.
Early in the year. But this is a guy that came out of high school and, touted, as going to be a real game changer. And I think some people were disappointed. And look, it happens sometimes. We have some guys that come in to Kentucky, and we see some guys that go to other schools, and they just don't blossom until that 3rd or 4th year. I think back to a Cameron Mills that it took him till his junior year to. Imagine somebody staying 4 years in college.
Yeah, he got a scholarship his junior year, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah.
He walked on from Dunbar, and but then you have guys like Justin Edwards who just kept playing. And in this day and age, Craig, this, it is so easy for a kid to transfer out of a program if they're not happy with their playing time or they're not happy with
Alabama football.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's it's following Deion wherever he's going.
What's Villanova's coach Jay
Wright?
Yeah, that's why he left. He said, "I'm not screwing with this."
Well, and I think the interesting thing is you're recruiting your own players every year, right? And so that's the hardest part. And all it takes is 5 guys who have known each other since AAU days, talking on text and phone and say, "Hey, why don't we go play at X school? I hear, why don't we all go to St. John's and play for Patino, or something of that nature." And you get a guy like Justin Edwards, and you worry, like, is it a head case issue? Is it is the spotlight too bright? Coming to Kentucky, that's tough. This is like Alabama football, right?
Got some breaking news.
All right, let's hear it.
From it's about Louisville. Said the assistant coach has been working against Kenny Payne since December. He announced somewhere. This came, let's see, I think I sent it to you. It came out just a couple minutes ago, and that there was some dissension amongst the Louisville team since December at least, where this assistant coach is trying to oust Kenny Payne so he can get the head coaching job. I posted. I know I did. I put it on my Facebook page.
I will tell you. I will tell you the Kenny Payne situation at Louisville is befuddling. I have several friends. Kevin Fox is one who's a huge Louisville fan. Not everybody, is perfect, and he. I can't say that my daughter goes to U of L, right? So, I'm supporting both schools.
Barstool Sports, so it's legit.
Oh, if it's Barstool Sports, then they're not posting something to stop.
Yeah, the headline says, "We've never seen a shit show like Louisville. Reports claim assistant coach Nolan Smith leaked that Kenny Payne would be fired in December, so he'd be named head coach." And it's got Eric Crawford in here, and
that's the worst. That guy should never get a job.
Yeah,
that guy should never.
Yeah, that sucks for Louisville, because even though we're Kentucky fans, Louisville's still a Kentucky school.
we don't like it when Louisville stinks. I mean, we can all make fun
No.
of it, but we want
It's no fun. It's no fun
it's
to
no
play 'em.
fun. I mean,
Yeah.
then if they beat you, then it's like, it's like when we beat them in football when they're real good. It's like,
Right.
it's no win
They're
for them
Yeah.
if they beat us. So,
No.
that's shocking to me, to be honest with you. And it was always, one of the problems with Kenny Payne came in with quite honestly, no talent. I mean, what they had graduated, what the rest they had,
Mhm.
transferred or
Yeah.
were hurt, and you can only do so much with what you have, and it makes me think back to the Rick Pitino, his first year, the fact that he went 14-14 with basically a bunch of walk-ons and
Right.
Reggie Hansen.
Local guys. Yeah. All
Yeah,
the local guys.
yeah, all the guys who went on to be the unforgettables, and
Infamy. Yeah.
wasn't Hanson the other player on
Yeah.
that team?
Reggie Henson. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
mean, the fact that they went 14-14 in the SEC is impressive. But
It was unbelievable. Yeah.
but man, that was fun basketball, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Weren't there fun games? Like
I
remember the
love
year?
Patino, and
Oh, I know you
I
do.
put posts out with Patino, saying I like him a lot and all this. And they're playing right now, by the way, Connecticut. Last I checked, it was 13-13. And I caught some crap saying that I'm still a Rick Pitino fan.
Who cares? I mean, people
Yeah.
that don't realize. I mean, they can be mad at him for going to the NBA. They can be mad at him. He was a young guy at the time. He was in his 40s when he did
Yeah.
that, and
$5 million a year,
and
$25 million
right.
contract.
And so he goes and he doesn't have a good run, and people say, well, see, there's proof you can't. College coaches can't coach in the pros, and I mean, obviously that has been proven wrong with Brad. His name from
Yeah. Butler.
from Butler, and then also with Billy Donovan. I mean, these guys look, if you can coach, you can coach. Dale Brown, or
Yeah.
Larry Brown. If you can coach, you can
And
coach.
with NIL coming into college now, it might be easier to coach NBA now.
Well, I mean,
Because
you have,
UK started that NIL fund
oh, I know,
basically
part of
to
it.
buy the players.
I mean,
that's what it
might
is.
Might as well play with the big boys, right?
Yeah. I mean that's because I can't figure out how Duke has got all these players. Somebody's got to be funneling those boys some money.
Well, let's be honest. With all 6,000 people in their arena every game, and I mean, it's not cheap to go to Duke. I mean,
No.
it's already expensive. So your alumni who are at Duke, they're making
they're making
they're
some
doctors
jack,
and lawyers,
serious
and
jack.
yeah. So that wouldn't shock me at all. And that's not knocking Kentucky, but we're a state institution. We're not a private school, and at the same time, we have to compete. In one of the most economically affected states in the entire nation, and even though it's the largest land grant institution in the state, with probably 30,000 students on campus and probably another 20 out
Mm-hmm.
now that everybody does everything correspondence or online, but that's difficult. I mean, we have more alumni, but I know that that when the football team was struggling, and everybody gave coach a hard time about him coming out and saying, if you want to get these 5-star athletes, these 4-star athletes, you're gonna have to put some money up. I'm sorry, that's just the reality of the game, and until that changes, it doesn't matter how many Mike Krzyzewskis and Bobby Knights you have in the world, in basketball, or the Nick Sabans of the world. You're gonna struggle. You're just gonna struggle.
Nick Saban said he's not going to do it because he had players coming in. Well, coach, after their first year, what are you going to give me for next year?
Well, what did that kid want? What did that kid want from USC? Like he wanted when he got drafted, he wanted a part ownership in the team or something. Get out of here, dude.
He hadn't got drafted yet, but
right.
Caleb Williams, I think.
Yeah.
He wants a percentage of a team that drafts him, and they're
good luck to the team that takes him. I hope it's somebody like the Raiders or somebody.
It'd be something funny that he don't even get drafted. But
well, I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, and and I don't know what the fix is because when Ed O'Bannon brought the lawsuit back in the '90s,
Hmm.
and that's where all this started from, which is one of the reasons we can't play EA Sports games anymore
He was at
because
UCLA, wasn't he?
UCLA, yeah,
Yeah.
the schools are making billions, not millions, but billions of dollars. And
Right.
we talked about U of L. U of L is the number one athletic brand when we're talking about the brand of a school. They are the number one athletic brand in the United States. It's huge. I mean, it would blow your mind. Texas is number two. Kentucky's not in the top 10 when it comes to the
Hmm.
brand. That's how surprising it is.
But UK's got 12 guys in the NBA at least.
Oh, they have 12 guys
They
playing
could
every
they
night,
could have
basically.
they could have had half the All-Star team.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean,
And
and then you see guys playing like, I said something the other night, like, can you imagine if Bam Adebayo had a tenth of the skill that he has right now? It
right,
was like 2 years into the league, the guy figured out how to move his body right.
and
It was unbelievable.
that shows if they had to stay at Kentucky, how good those teams would have been.
Oh
Because
my
these guys
gosh.
are all-stars now. They're all all-stars, all
Tyler
making
Hero. Yeah,
30,
Tyler Hero.
40, $50 million a year. I mean,
So,
Patino's got his players are under like $3 billion in contracts.
yeah. So let's talk about this then. Let's
Let's
talk
go
about
back to the
Reed.
game though, because we got
Well,
half hour.
we'll get right back to the game, but let's talk about Reed Shepherd. All right,
Yep.
you got a kid in Reed Shepherd whose folks are alumni of the University of Kentucky. They were legends in each of
Right.
their
Both of them.
sports.
Yeah.
When they're recognized anywhere in the state, they could be at the mall. People are getting autographs. Right? It's funny. Sometimes I see more kids getting Stacy's autograph and getting Jeff's, and I think that's
Well,
hilarious. But
they've been pushing her hard all
oh,
across the country.
they
Yeah.
have, and she has that mountain twang that just
Hmm.
it makes you endearing. Reed's family's not hurting for money. Reed went. He said he wanted to be here to be a star. He wanted to get an education the same place his parents did. Reed Shepherd's projected to be the number one draft pick right now.
Yeah.
I mean,
One's
he
got
could
him
lay
at
an egg.
one. One's got him at one, which I
Yeah,
cannot believe.
yeah.
And
Well, I mean,
another one's got him at 3, which I hope he would go to 3. Because who's the third team drafting this year? San Antonio. And he would play with Wimby.
yeah.
Can you imagine him lobbing to Wimby all day long?
Well, I hope his lobs are getting a little better because he's thrown a few this year that have been a little
Yeah.
errant. But
But if you're 7'5", you can get really up
yeah,
there and catch them. So,
Wimby's brother's 17 years old or
right.
16 years old, and he's 7'2" or something crazy
Yeah.
like that. I heard.
Yeah,
So,
I've been watching. Yeah.
But when it comes to Reed, I know he could go to the NBA. He could be drafted in the top 30, whatever. Even if he's not a top pick. By the way, he was not predicted to be a
No.
top, even a top.
He was an afterthought. He was
right.
like John Pelfrey, but he's
Right.
50 times better.
Right, but you cannot quantify heart, and so the question is,
It's his brain.
does he just? Yeah, he has court
Phenomenal.
sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Corey
unbelievable.
steals, blocks. He's had 2 classic blocks, one on each side of the court, where he come out of nowhere to block them.
Yeah, the one in the
One of them
corner.
was a game winner.
Yeah, the one in the corner where he blocked it, which was the game winner. I mean, he could have touched the top of the backboard. I don't know where those
Right.
springs came from. Those were his dad. It looked so much like his dad.
Yeah, I finally found a good image of that.
Did you?
Then he's got one on the other side of the court, maybe
But-
against Tennessee.
But if he'll stay, I'm telling you, this kid from Lyon County is better. And I know that's hard to believe for UK fans who were all endeared to Reed Shepherd right now. Everybody wants. Yeah, go ahead.
If he's better, with Shepherd shooting 51% from 3, 50% from the whole anywhere,
Yeah.
and his steals, he might be leading the country in steals at 2.5 a game, or he's in the top 3 for sure.
After last game, the crazy number he had, he's at like 2.6 average or something.
Let's see. On Tennessee, he had a couple blocks on. I had 1 block on Tennessee, and he's been getting blocks, which at 6'3", It's just hard to believe. And
Yeah, he's about as 6'3" as Wandale is 5'11". By the way, I'm just throwing
yeah,
that
yeah,
out there.
Wandale. Yeah, I've got me and Wandale's the same height. I got
Yeah, yeah,
photographic evidence. Unless
yeah,
I grew 3 inches real quick.
yeah. Well, I mean, they all do that. But I'm
Yeah.
telling you, if you get the kid from Lyon County and you turn around and you put him with Reed, um, you're talking about a backcourt combination of shooters that we probably haven't seen at UK ever. We've had the Devin
Right.
Bookers and we've had the Harrison twins, where you have one or the other is very good on your team,
Hmm.
and then maybe the next year the other guy is better. But I'm talking about two guys that can shoot it over 50%. I mean, Travis Perry's
Right.
averaged 40 points a game
Right.
in high school for all of high
Now,
school.
I've not watched him play. Does he play defense, or does he
Yes,
have to? He has. Does
yes,
he?
yeah. He has to. I mean, they won a game the other night. I think 41-39, and
Oh.
he was guarding the point guard coming down. He's a little taller.
Hmm.
Um, has a better mid-range jumper. He's not as fast as Reed. I'll give him that, but he's better shooter, pure shooter. And he's not jacking up 30 shots.
Right.
I mean, there's other guys on his team that are scoring, but you score 5,000 points in high school. I don't care if he started in the 7th grade. I don't care if he started in the 2nd grade.
Top 10
My
in the whole
point.
country ever. Isn't that right?
Ever, yeah, ever,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it goes back to A&M. Their guards. Let's see. I wrote down something. Their guards shot 46 shots, and the other 9 players that played in the game against Kentucky only took 36.
Do you remember
So they're jacking them up. They didn't see
yeah,
a shot they didn't like, but a lot of Taylors were drive to the basket. This thing I've been harping about on social media and people giving me flack. When Big O or Z goes up to the top of the key to set a pick,
yeah,
and there's nobody back in the back, the fast guards, the SEC's got some fast guards this year. And they just drive around them. They got wide open layups because our wings are out guarding the other wings because they can
right.
shoot. So the 2 centers today, they put up only I think 4 shots apiece. Both of them scored 4 points maybe.
Yeah, those are not nearly the guys that
If
beat
we're
us.
out at the top of the key and he's trying to guard them off a pick, then
Oh, yeah. I mean,
it'll be another them getting to the free throw line 20 times and
but here's the thing.
driving constantly to wide open shots.
But
Or
here's the thing. Here's the thing about Calipari. You can't beat him with the same game plan twice. We can all get upset about the Olay defense. We can all get upset
yeah,
about not guarding the 3-point line. We can all get upset about that. But the reality is you cannot beat Calipari with the same game plan twice. So whatever they do, you can guarantee that tonight Thiero or Edwards are going to be on either one of the backcourt guards, whichever one thinks he's hot tonight, and
well,
they'll make that switch.
It's been Taylor and Radford all
Yeah,
season. I looked up their season stats. They're the 2 guys that just jack it up at every opportunity, like that guard for Tennessee,
yeah,
the 5'9" guard.
yeah.
He crosses half court and he's open. That dude, he started to bring him back today, but Connect, however you say his
Yeah.
name,
Yeah.
they shut him down today. But
I think it was 6 for 17 or
yeah,
something for the game.
yeah, if we can hold Taylor still, that I think will be the game. Radford shot 50%. Taylor was just jacking him up, but he was going to the basket so much. The difference he did was with the free throws because he lived on the free throw line. Only missed one the whole game, and that was the difference because the game stats, the percentages were darn near identical. They were within 1% or 2% across the line, the whole stat line. They were nearly identical.
Well, and it's interesting when you talk about that because parity is what scares us the most as Kentucky fans, right? I mean, we're worried about a team that is good from top to bottom, but I don't think that's what they have when it comes to their big men. And we've had a big change when you know that you talk about Z's coming into his own. You talk about Bradshaw being more aggressive. I'm not quite sure what has happened to Trey Mitchell. I'm not sure if that back injury
I
is
think
hampering him.
I think that and in his shoulder, left
Well,
shoulder.
it's just so weird because he was a dominant player. He was jacking up threes and
Right.
making them. I think he hit 2 or 3 threes in a game right in a row, and it's a head scratcher for sure.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Against
so
A&M, he had 13 rebounds though, and 8 of them were offensive rebounds, so that's good. You know.
yeah,
Um, but I'm going to key on the two starting guards and how often they shoot and if they get by our guys. Because I think it was a Tennessee game. I think it turned around when Big O stayed under the basket. And you want those centers, if they think they can shoot, hell, let them shoot. But I
well,
think
yeah. If you think they're going to be the ones that are going to beat you, let them take that shot. That's not
let it
something
rip. Yeah, leave
yeah.
them wide open. And but we got to stop the guard. If Taylor gets by us, we got to foul him so hard that he can't make it a and one. He had several of those last game too, where we didn't foul him hard enough, and he hit the layup and then went and hit the free throw.
So let me make a comparison, okay? When you talk about Taylor and his driving ability and their backcourt and how they dominated that game, jacking up so many shots, it reminds me of the first game of the season in 1996, maybe the second game of the season in 1996 when we played UMass, and you have
Calipari.
you have Padilla and Travieso. Remember those two names?
Yeah.
Those guys beat us like a drum. We were worried about Marcus Camby. Those are the guys who beat us that night. I mean, they beat us like, and then again, Calipari was the coach then. But then when we played them in the Final Four, in the semifinals, it was a different team. I mean, we were a different team. Delk was on lock.
Right.
Against them defensively and offensively, and then you bring in Turner and Epps and those guys. I mean, the reality is that you can't just go with the same thing you did the time before, and we learned that from Pitino, and then of course I think tonight, they're going to have to go to their big men more than they did the first time if they're going to beat us on the inside.
Right.
Our biggest disadvantage, and I don't think I'm sharing anything here that nobody doesn't already know, but our biggest disadvantage is the fact that our big men, yes, we have 22 feet of big men with 15 fouls, right?
And they weigh about 200 pounds apiece.
But if you put them all together, they all equal Shaq. It's like
they said they weigh 245. Said Z weighs 245. There ain't no way.
I see him pushed around like a rag doll every game.
They're big players. Wilden Levique is 6'11", 250, legit.
Mm-hmm.
And he only took 5 shots for the game. That's why I say you don't got to worry about it. And Coleman, number 15, 6'8", 245. So that's where, so if they both get down low, if their game plan changes, because we might have, they might figure Cal's got plays in to stop their guards. They can like Mississippi State today, they owned Tennessee under it. I bet they scored 80% of their points under the basket today. And
it's bully basketball, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the games that we have lost, we've been out rebounded.
Yeah.
We have made dumb fouls. And the games we won, we've been more agile. We moved our feet. Z's had more blocks. Bradshaw's had more blocks. Thiero, oddly enough, I think in the last 15 games is averaging like 3 blocks a game or something crazy like that. I mean, that guy's got some hops, and that's the Thiero we were always promised last year too.
Right.
But I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that these teams in the SEC and the teams we play in the NCAA, they're going to be prepared for Reed Shepherd. They're going to be prepared for Antonio Reeves, and they're going to be prepared for Rob Dillingham. The key to UK winning the SEC tournament and then going forward is DJ Wagner.
Yeah, he had a good game against Texas A&M last time.
He did. He had 18 points, and there have been bright spots. But if you'll remember, when we had Epps and Turner and won national championships, it's because those guys would drive and shoot layups. They would get by their man and drive and shoot layups.
And Turner was fast as hell. And
oh my gosh,
unbelievable! He had good body control.
He did, and one of the best passers ever.
Yeah.
But Wagner has this ability, and we laugh about it. The only person on the team better is Dillingham with English on the ball.
Right.
I mean, have you ever seen a kid that just can throw it up at any angle and
he goes in? Yeah, he's spinning on the backboard.
It's I don't know how many 3-point plays that Dillingham has had, but Wagner has the ability to do it. And I think Wagner got into his feels and got into his head a little bit early in the season, midway through the season.
Well, he got hurt. He was hurting too. When
he was.
Back,
he was.
He was out a couple weeks.
But you were you at the game when they came and played at Kentucky State University? Did you go see that?
No.
We went and Franklin County played Frankfort High the first game, and you have to remember that these were two high schools that played after them. The number one team out of New Jersey, which had Brad.
Oh, I remember. Yeah,
and the number one team out of North Carolina, who I think they beat by about 30 points that night. And Wagner, these were grown men. I mean, I felt bad for the kids from Franklin County and Frankfort High because those weren't small boys. Those were big kids. Then these grown men walked off the bus, and I don't remember Wagner missing that night. He may have missed, but we couldn't get over. I mean, he would take 2 steps over half court, and he'd take a shot, and it would go in. And it was almost like when you see Kevin Durant on the playground up in New York, Rucker Park and stuff. And I mean, he just got in a groove. And if Wagner hits and again, if you watch Wagner a couple times, he's jacked up a couple threes that have missed everything but the bottom of the backboard and things.
Yeah.
And you're like, what's going on there? That kid can shoot.
No, he can shoot. He's coming in. He's coming into his zone now. Early on, people were saying, well, why is Wagner still starting over Dillingham or Reed? And they said, well, he must have promised him, when he signed up that he was going to start every game. He was getting his legs back under him. You can't shoot if you don't got your legs. There's no doubt about that. But, if you see players start hitting the front of the rim, then they're tired. Their legs are tired. It's not their arms, it's their legs. People don't understand that. But, there's one odd stat at the Tennessee game that I've not seen before. When all our big guys, all 5 of them, Big O, Fierro, Big Z, Bradshaw, and Mitchell, they all scored 0 points.
Yeah, you posted that the other day.
I've never seen that before.
You posted that the other day, and I didn't believe it because I thought to myself, I remember those guys scoring, but I went back and watched the highlights, and they didn't score, but they did all the other things. I think of the block with Fierro, and I think of
they had 9 blocks between them.
Yeah, 9 blocks, and they had a ton of rebounds. Would Z have 6 or 7 rebounds the other night against Tennessee? And
let's see. No, he had 0
rebounds.
Yeah, I got the stat sheet right here.
Wow.
Yeah.
I am.
Big O had 10. Fierro had 11.
Okay.
Z and Bradshaw had 0 rebounds, and Mitchell had 2. So
and again, I don't know what honestly I don't know what the deal is with Mitchell. I know the injury. He's got to be. It's not the same kid. It's not the same kid that was dominant early in the season.
His left shoulder's got to be killing. He got hit hard.
He did.
When you go out and don't come back and then don't play for 2 or 3 games, he might have separated his shoulder. Maybe, I don't know, but he got hit hard to go out that quick. It had to hurt like hell. But
so let's talk about the game tonight and what waits beyond tonight. Because the risk with the SEC, and one of the reasons that the Big Ten didn't go to a tournament for many, many years was because they felt like they had a competitive advantage over teams because you had to play, 3, 4, 5 days in a row.
Yeah, they got a rest, and there's no losses for their big teams in the tournament.
And well, I mean, now there's lots of rest for Duke and Kansas and all those teams that are sitting at home.
Marquette, they're number 2. Is that right? They lost 2, didn't they?
I think you're right. And
they were a 2 seed, maybe. They were a 2 seed.
Did Houston win the other night? They were.
Yeah, they're still
okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think we have to have measured expectations as well. But after we win tonight, you're gonna come in and play an Alabama team that we gave a good punch in the mouth to a couple weeks ago.
They still got to beat Florida, though.
They do have to beat Florida, and it depends on which Florida team shows up.
Yeah, right, and they will. But Auburn, for the next 3 games, Kentucky and A&M, Florida, Alabama, Mississippi State, and Auburn. That Mississippi State and Auburn game is going to be brutal. It is going to be a fun game to watch.
Yeah, the over-under on that game will be less than 120 probably.
Right, yeah.
I mean, it's you're going to have, multiple foul outs. It's going to be a free throw shooting contest eventually. But, I mean, either one of those teams can get super hot too. And that's the scary part.
Yeah.
And who in the world wants to play a team that not only will beat you up physically, but then they'll throw it out to the kid that's 10 feet behind the 3-point line
and hit it
that way. Yeah.
So Tennessee got the crap beat out of them. It was a fun game to watch because there's some Tennessee fans on my Facebook feed. And, they were getting.
How does one become a Tennessee fan? Like, is it a birthright or is it a?
I have no clue, but it's fun. There's a few good fans on there too. That they lit me up a little bit last night when I was overjoyed that they got beat.
Well, Jen is very much like Sandra Bullock was in The Blind Side. That orange is just not in her color wheel.
Yeah.
So.
Like Jason Kelsey's wife, she won't wear nothing but Eagles gear.
Yeah.
Even with Trey, being at the Kansas City Super Bowl, she still had Eagles gear on.
The hilarious thing about that is Kelsey's now he's all upset because the Eagles went out and
right. Well, he can come back. He can come back.
He could come back, but the problem is that I'm sure they used a lot of that money that they would have had to have spent to re-sign him to go out and get a couple of good players.
They offered him, I think, it's either $9 or $12 million to come back for one more year.
Would have been the highest paid.
He was already the highest paid this year.
Was he?
This season, yeah, and because he was on a 2-year contract, and then I think it was $12 million to come back this year, and he turned it down. But you think that's crazy. Well, he turned down that $12 million, and his knees are killing him. So he's always talking about his knees and shoulders. But him and his brother might be signing $100 million podcast.
Mr. Swift.
Contract. $100 million.
Oh, are they not gonna do the podcast together? Because they're
going to do it together, but they're in negotiations. It's out there that they could sign a $100 million contract, second only to Joe Rogan's $200 million contract.
I thought we were in negotiations for that. I mean, the Kelseys, they do theirs out of their houses, and we do ours out of our houses. So
they do them from all over the country. Yeah, they do them from all over the country.
Jen's way hotter than Taylor Swift. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you right now.
Is she in the room or something?
She is in the room, but she can also sing better than Taylor Swift. I'm telling you right now, and anybody wants to fight about that.
We'll put her on tour then, Mr. Manager.
Oh my gosh, I would, but she always says no. Anyway, I will say this about Jason Kelsey. Did you watch the was it Netflix or Hulu the documentary on the Kelsey brothers? It was mainly about Jason. He's a regular dude. I mean, they live in a regular house, and he's a regular dude.
He's beloved. He's beloved.
And I think his wife is really ready for him to retire. And
they got 3 kids.
Yeah, that's exactly what Jen just yelled from the other room. They have 3 kids. Whenever I ask Jen, like, whatever happened to that singer or that actor, they're like, they
children
went and had babies.
Yeah,
that's what you have to do. So.
Yeah.
It's kind of our running joke around here. So
let's see.
um,
So let's close out because we got about 3 minutes because I want to get in and get ready to watch the game.
yep.
My thing is we got to stop Taylor and Radford from driving to the basket. If we can do that, we can force them outside, but that would mean our centers, our 22 feet of guys, would have to stay near the basket. And whether they will or not, because everybody's doing pick and rolls now, and their guards can definitely hit them. They just didn't hit them against us.
Right.
He went 1 for 11 from 2 points, so they had to be out beyond the key. And let's see, Radford was the hot one. He went 11 for 22, 3 for 6 from 3-point line, and Taylor scored 31.
Taylor,
10 of them was from free, or 11 of them was from free throw line.
Taylor and Radford are both good defensive players too. My hot take,
a good rebounder.
Yeah, my hot take for the game is going to be this: they're going to do their absolute best to lock down Reed Sheppard when he comes in at that 16-minute timeout. I think
like Tennessee did,
just like Tennessee did.
Tried to do.
Yeah, tried to, and then he put up 21 points in the 22 points in the second half. But here's where I think Kentucky can start to truly scare some teams. When you get a high-flying Thiero, you get a Justin Edwards who is rebounding
bomber,
and also hitting those. He doesn't have to hit threes; just hit mid-range jumpers. But if you get Bradshaw and you get Onyenso and you get them just aggressively, I'm talking the Bam Adebayos, the Willie Cauley-Stein. Right. I mean, just with total abandon, going for rebounds, diving after balls. I'm talking, every dunk you can imagine. If you miss some, you miss some. But I'm talking hard fouls. I mean, I'm thinking of DeMarcus Cousins. Nobody went inside on DeMarcus Cousins. You were going to get a hard foul. And so I think
that's where we've changed too.
You're right. You're right.
About 3/4 way through the season, we stopped giving up those touch fouls that they would turn into a 3-point play.
Yeah, and I think if we're gonna foul somebody, if one of these, Radford or Taylor drive the lane, one good hard foul. I'm telling you, we have 15 of them, right?
Put them on their ass 1 or 2
That's
times.
Right, and they'll stop. I mean, there's a reason Kurt Rambis had a job for as long as he did in the NBA, right? Yeah. I mean, it wasn't because he was pretty or had a good shot. Okay, Kurt Rambis was going to take you down with a clothesline. Now, of course, we're not advocating taking down a clothesline.
You're not allowed to do that nowadays.
But a hard foul, make them remember coming down there, and I think that that will make all the difference in the world, and that will scare some teams. I'm telling you, it will scare some teams. Not only the SEC, but these teams that are in the NCAA. I think if Kentucky can dominate the next 3 games, I'm just going out on a limb here, and they win the SEC tournament going away, they're an outside shot at a 1 seed now.
No, I don't see a 1. But I've been saying for 2 months that if we win out, which we did, and then win the SEC tournament, even though the picks are made, by Sunday at noon.
Sure.
And we'll play at noon, I think, something like that. We got a real good shot at it too, especially with, I think, Marquette and Kansas, Duke all losing.
Okay, so here's the bet.
And Tennessee lost, and that gives North Carolina's a solid. They're the 4th number 1 seed, so that's locked in pretty much.
Didn't we whip them?
Yes, we did.
Okay, now we didn't beat North Carolina and Wilmington. That's a different team.
But that's a long time. That was a whole different team.
So here's the bet. If they win out and they get a 1 seed, I get a free large pizza from Da Vinci's Pizza. From Da Vinci's Pizza, the best pizza in Frankfort, Kentucky. Da Vinci's Pizza.
So you're saying what's the deal then?
The deal is if UK wins out, dominant,
all the way to the finals, or just the SEC tournament.
The SEC tournament, and they get a 1 seed. They get a 1 seed
and get a 1, so it's qualified.
And they get a 1. They win the SEC tournament going away, and they get a 1 seed. I get a large Da Vinci's Pizza. for
What do I
free.
get? What do I get?
Okay. Well, I
Free lawyer
will.
services for life?
I'll give you. I can hook you up with a drug test or a home incarceration
I'm good.
bracelet. Or I mean, Teresa's always wanting to know where you're at. So I mean, it's better to do
She
it
can
that
trick
way,
me
right?
on the phone unless I turn it off, just to drive her crazy a little bit.
Yeah, we'll give you a CCA
Got
mug.
one. I got a hat and a shirt. Well, I got
But
a
you don't
that
have a
other
mug
shirt.
though. You don't have a thermos mug.
I got a Frankfurt High Cup. It's in the
Oh,
living room.
for your Frankfurt High Cup's going to beat my Capital Court Authority mug.
I don't know. I haven't seen yours yet.
Stainless.
So
It's
this
nice.
Frankfurt High one. It's an original. Back when Jackie Gordon was the athletic director down there. So
Oh, I thought you were going to say like original when like Robert
Dinosaur
Roach
Ri-
went there or something.
Yeah, no.
Back in 40s
No.
or something.
Okay.
All right, let's wrap this puppy up.
2 minutes.
Yeah. So
I say we shut the guards down. Not shut them down. We hold them to where they're not living on the free throw line. We're going to win.
And I say our big guys come in and just play with total abandon and play a little reckless tonight. I think that would be fun to watch. And then at that point, let Reed and Rob and Antonio do their big thing.
Let them go crazy.
And I think we win and we avoid the defeat of the chalk, which is what has happened so far in these conference tournaments.
Right. Yeah.
And if you're hungry tonight, go ahead and call in for your Da Vinci's Pizza. And now's the time to do it because after the game, it's gonna be a little too late. So go ahead and get that order in.
We're gonna do this before the next UK game too. Get Eric on here.
I guess they better win. We miss Eric. Eric's not here with all of his sports knowledge and stats.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll print them out for him so he can read them anyway.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching us. Sorry we were a little late, and go Cats.
All right. Go Cats. See ya.